In this video, we are discussing estrangement and how research explains adult children who distance from a parental relationship due to childhood abuse. So this is a horrific topic, but we know that many individuals talk about the fact that they were abused as children. We want to untangle this and understand more. By understanding, we gain a lot of empathy, and it just helps us to deal with this topic a lot better. So before we go on, I just want to talk about how we can define estrangement. Watch my video, What is Family Estrangement? How to Pick Up the Pieces When You Are Estranged. It's video number 1 in my series, and this one will just help you untangle what estrangement is, and you'll get a lot more background information. So childhood abuse emerges as a significant factor shaping the decision to estrange. Childhood abuse is acknowledging the diverse forms of abuse: physical, verbal, sexual. We talk about negligence and neglect. And the scars transcend time, affecting perceptions, relationships, and emotional well-being. Psychological abuse, according to the DSM-5, is defined as verbal or symbolic acts given by parent or caregiver which can result in significant psychological harm. Things such as yelling, complaining, name-calling, blaming, gaslighting, manipulating, and normalizing abuse due to the status of being underage. How does childhood abuse affect someone? So we know that in the formative years, these wounds manifest as anxiety, depression, complex PTSD, which is an extension of PTSD, and it's prolonged exposure to challenging events, challenging or repetitive. So when we talk about complex PTSD, we're talking about complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's something that's been extremely stressful, and it's created a traumatic imprint on the individual. The impact of forming healthy connections, even within family, is harmed. Using estrangement to cope with the abuse is something that people do. Coping mechanisms to reclaim a degree of control over their life. So we are talking about severe situations: psychological abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, negligence, neglect, sexual abuse, all of these things that harm. But as you can see, the psychological piece that we spoke about a minute ago had to do with things that didn't involve physical abuse, okay? It was the way that people related to each other. It was the way that children were spoken to. So a coping mechanism of leaving to reclaim control over your life makes perfect sense, because the individual wants to break free from the cyclical nature of abuse. And establishing boundaries is crucial for improving one's well-being. So how do we overcome the silence around abuse? Societal expectations and fear of judgment contribute to the silence. Estrangement is a courageous act of breaking silence, asserting one's right to prioritize their well-being. So let's just get here, okay? There are adult children who have been severely harmed by abuse, okay? And as we can see, abuse is not just when someone's hit or sexual abuse. There are also emotional abuse, what we talked about earlier, and psychological abuse. This is really hard. And a lot of parents don't get when their adult child says, "Oh my God, you abused me," because they're only looking at it from a perspective, "I didn't hit you, I didn't do this, I didn't do that." And the adult child may be honing in on some real memories of things that might have happened. Now, there is no shame here for parents, because some parents have nothing to do with who have been estranged, have nothing to do with having abused their adult child or their child. However, there are parents that have abused their children, their adult child when they were children, and will continue to do things that are emotionally abusive and have very little connection and insight into taking responsibility. So I just wanted to make that clear. There's no shame here. This doesn't have to do with every single parent. This video is to illuminate what's gone on for many adult children. I hear from them and I hear from the parents, and I'm in a really good spot to be able to tell you that not only is what I'm hearing lining up with the research, but I think it's really important for us as a society to stop silencing, because just because it may not have been us that was abusive does not mean that it did not happen for others and many others. Guilt and societal judgment after abuse and estrangement is a real thing. People have to be told things like, oh, you should just forgive and go right back into that burning building of this very unhealthy relationship. Contending with feelings of guilt. Societal norms emphasize the sanctity of family bonds, and it is a wonderful thing, but when there's abuse, we're talking about something different. When someone prioritizes their well-being, it's an act of self-preservation. It's not betrayal. You want to watch my video, How to Cope with Adult-Child Estrangement, Guilt and Regret. That will help just in case there's stuff that you really need to touch on as a parent. So the healing journey is multifaceted. It's a good idea. You know, I say it all the time. Get some support, an estrangement coach, a therapist, acknowledging your pain, allowing yourself to grieve, and rebuilding a sense of self where you're not just under the abuse, under what's happened to you. You want to heal from the trauma. We want to stand against the cycle of abuse as a community of individuals. There's no you're right, you're wrong when it comes to abuse. No one ever deserves to be abused. And by the way, there is an upcoming video that has to do with when parents are abused by their children, because that happens too. Prioritize self-care and nurture resilience. Recognize the strength it takes to heal. And let's encourage each other for those navigating their unique journey. If you're in imminent danger, please get help. There are national hotlines you can call, or tell a trusted friend or adult that you are in trouble. I'm Marie Morin. Hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, and let me know what you thought of this